So by now you know that you need to launch. You know that every successful business, every successful brand, every successful product starts with a successful product launch. You do not want to show up slowly. You don't want to depend on hope marketing. That's where you put all this time into creating your product, creating your business, and then you hope it does well. That doesn't work so well. You need to engineer your success. You need a properly executed product launch to ensure your success. This video is all about blueprinting that launch and creating your product launch path. I'm Jeff Walker, and since 2005, I've been training entrepreneurs how to launch their businesses and their products. I've trained thousands and thousands of clients, and they've done hundreds of millions of dollars in launches. So let's blueprint your launch. First of all, down below this video, you can download the actual blueprint itself. Yes, there is an actual blueprint. And go ahead and download it, open it up so you can follow along. One of the things, a couple warnings. First of all, is that blueprint, it's pretty intense. There's a lot there. There's a lot of detail. It's many pages long. Please don't be intimidated by that. You don't need to know it all. You don't have to learn it all. You don't have to do it all. Because frankly, what we're about here is creating that blueprint so you know which pieces that you need from the overall blueprint. The other thing is I'm going to go very quickly in this video. I'm not necessarily going to cover every single piece in the blueprint. I'm going to skip over some pieces. There's going to be some things I cover in this video that are not in the blueprint, and there's going to be some things in the blueprint that I don't get to. Sorry about that, but we've got a lot of ground to cover, and frankly, time is getting tight. I've already given you 2 videos. That first video was all about the sideways sales letter. And in that video, we basically gave you the framework that makes these launches work. The second video, I showed you the 3 big guns of the product launch world. And I also showed you the launch stacking. Launch stacking is how I went from basically a stay-at-home dad who hadn't made any money in years, and then started with this tiny little list of 19 email addresses and built it up to where I've now got a multi-million-dollar business. So and if you haven't seen those videos yet, be sure it should be up at the top of the page. Check those out. They're pretty much, I think, required viewing, required homework if you want your business to thrive for the next 12 months, or if you're just starting up, if you even want your startup to get off the ground, you got to watch those videos. So make sure you watch them. They are required homework. Now, like I said, I'm going to be moving quickly through this because time is tight. We've got this video, and we've got the next video. We don't have much time left here, and so I'm going to move as quickly as possible. So don't be intimidated. Remember, it is about baby steps. It's about taking that next step. And that's what I've done all along, from when I first started out until all along the path till I've built this business that I've got now. It is about those baby steps. Remember, one of the things that I'm going to talk about is the product launch parachute. And that's this idea of this formula is so powerful and it's so redundant that you don't have to get everything perfect. You can make mistakes. As long as you follow this blueprint, follow the formula, get the core pieces right, you can make mistakes. I make mistakes in pretty much every launch I've ever done, and I'm sure I'll continue to make mistakes in every launch I do. So, really at the core of this, it's about connecting with your market. It's about delivering a lot of value. It's about finding out what they want and then giving it to them. And it's that simple. So let's go ahead and get started and create your blueprint, find your product launch path. Okay, so I'm going to start with strategy, because strategy is the thing that's going to build your business and your income over the long term. In one sense, I'm a hardcore marketer, and I love those tactics. Change the color of this button or change the wording of this piece right here, and you're going to get a 2% increase. I love that kind of stuff, but strategy is what wins in the long run, so I always start with strategy. And here's some of the underlying core strategies that really fuel everything I do with product launches and business launches and product launch formula. First of all, you always want to be focused on your list building. So I consider product launches are list building on steroid. The best way to build a list is through a product launch. I've seen this over and over and over in my businesses, where I can often add thousands and thousands of subscribers to my lists within a few days. And the thing is No matter whether you have yet to start building your list or whether you've got a huge list, you always have to focus on building your list of both prospects and clients. Always has to happen. If you don't have your first subscriber yet, you have to get your first subscriber. And then you get your first 100 subscribers. And if you're just starting out, that might seem like a lot. But the thing is when you get to 100 subscribers, what do you want to do? You want to get to 1,000 subscribers. And I'll tell you what, everyone's got 1,000 subscribers on their list. They want to get to 10,000. And they think the holy grail is 10,000. But when you get to 10,000, you want 100,000. No matter who you are, you always have to focus on building a list. And the best way to do it is with a product launch. Now, it's not just the size of your list that's important, it's the relationship that you have with your list. And the best, warmest list that you can have is a launch list. That's the list you build throughout your launch. And one of the things I pay attention to is numbers. I watch my open rates and I watch my click-through rates when I send out an email to my list. And the best click-through rates and open rates are always during and after a launch. That's what we call this launch list phenomenon. Having a launch list is like having this warm security blanket because, some people, in some markets, open rates vary, click-through rates vary, but there's some people with bigger lists that are getting, 8% open rate. But when I'm in the middle of a launch, I'm getting 40, 50, 60% open rates. And that's the big lists. To get a 60% open rate to a large list, almost unheard of unless you're in a launch. And then when the launch is over, it doesn't end. It keeps on going. Those open rates stay very high, and then they gradually tailor off until you get to your next launch. And then boom, you have that super warm list again. Now, creating raving fans that's the name of the game, because these are people that are going to come back and buy from you again, and they're going to tell other people about you. And if you can create raving fans, then you win. And the people that go through a launch with you, the prospects and the clients that go through a launch with you, they love you because you're providing great value to them. You're delivering that problem solution path for them. You're delivering great content. You're building value in their life, so they love you. That's why you have that super warm relationship with your list. Even the people that don't buy from you will still love you. Then these next two, I'm just going to group them together, and they're building a crushing offer and identifying deadly effective sales hooks. And this is all part of what we call the launch conversation. So when you start putting out your pre-launch videos, your pre-launch content, you end up creating this conversation because people will leave comments, they'll interact with you on social media, they'll send emails back to you, and you basically know what's ticking inside their head. You know what their problems are, you know what their hopes and dreams are, and then you can create an offer that they really want. If you create an offer that people really, really want, if you can identify what they want and give them what they want, it makes everything else easy. It makes the sales super easy. If you can identify the objections and then answer them, it couldn't be an easier sell. You don't have to be doing some slimy sales, hard sell type of thing. You're just identifying what their problems are. You're answering their objections, and then you're offering this great solution. That's what that problem solution path is about. I'll tell you that launch conversation is so powerful. I'm using it right now. As I'm making this video, I'm in a launch and I've gotten hundreds of comments, tons of social media interactions, all kinds of emails coming back to me. So I know what people are thinking that are watching my videos. I know, and so then I can tailor all my follow-ups. The stuff that is going in this presentation, this video that you're watching, is because of the comments that were left on my prior videos. I could see what people wanted to know, what their problems were. And so then I can take it and I can mold my next video based on that conversation. It is incredibly powerful. You also get this massive positioning, and positioning is where people view you as this expert or authority or guru or a leader. And when you have that positioning, when you have that leadership positioning, that expert positioning, that's when people look to you as the go-to solution in your market, then you win hands down. It is how you win in business. And there's no better way to get that positioning than within a product launch. Then these next two are sort of grouped together, the product launch parachute and this no single point of failure. And this is the idea of you're not just putting out one sales letter, one sales video and hoping it does well. It's sort of like, you know, I think of those Super Bowl commercials where people spend millions of dollars to make the commercial and millions of dollars to air the commercial. And every year there's a few winners. There's some commercials that really resonate, people love and get some big results, but there's also some real flops, some commercials that don't do very well. They spent millions and millions of dollars in months or even years of preparation, and then it failed. That's the product launch is the exact opposite of that. It's what we call a product launch parachute. That's where you have all these interactions, and it's a process. It's a conversation with the market. And if something doesn't resonate, you have time to sort of regroup and make some tweaks based on that launch conversation, so your next video will hit any points that you missed and will speak the language that your prospects want to hear. There is no single point of failure. It's a very risk-averse strategy. I'd like to say this, screw up 80% of it and it still works. And that might be a little hyperbole. It might not be quite 80%. But if you get that problem-solution path that I talked about in the first video, if you get that right and you provide real value, like I talked about in that first video and the second video, go click on them at the top of the page. They're required viewing. You got to check out those videos. But if you don't have that broken launch because you didn't provide the value, then you're going to win because you have time to regroup and fix any mistakes that you made. And then there's the good old launch stacking. And you know, I went into this deep in video 2. Be sure you watch video 2. That's where your results grow and grow and grow, where your knowledge of the market grows, your list grows, your momentum grows, the number of past clients, your word of mouth, your social media, it all grows from launch to launch as you build your positioning, build your list, and build your power within your market or your niche. The launch, they just stack. The launches stack. That's how I went from that first launch of $1,650, and then a few years later I was doing launches doing hundreds of thousands of dollars. A few years later doing launches that did millions of dollars. That's launch stacking, and you always want to be building your power within your business. So that's strategy. Next up, we've got tactics. Now I've got a lot of tactics built in here. It goes real deep, but I'm not going to spend the time in this video because, like I said, time is tight. We're trying to crank through as much as possible. All of this is in the blueprint PDF that you can download. We cover triggers first off. Again, there's a lot here. I cover the triggers somewhat in video 1, but there's more triggers here and more depth here. Also talk about the offer. The offer is very, very important. So be sure you check out that PDF of the blueprint. And then there's sequences. All of these sequences are in all the different types of launches. And it's important you build these sequences, and it's like one of the number one tactic. In fact, I'd really consider it more a strategy that we use within our launches. One I want to point out here that I haven't mentioned up to this point is the relaunch. The thing is once you do a launch, then just envision more people coming into your world after the launch. When I say coming into your world, they join your list, they become a prospect. You can often do a relaunch, and it's basically you're just repeating the launch that you did, so it's almost no work. You make a bunch more money, and it is absolute complete awesome sauce. I love relaunches. It's like free money. So now we're going to talk about your launch path. We've got 4 different paths defined here. I know you can't read it, it's too small. We're going to go into detail. It's the folks that have a current business, then the people that have an unleveraged business where you're maybe a practitioner, you're working with people one-on-one, and then there's the people that are just starting out, what I call the wantrepreneurs, and then there are the artists. So like I said, I'm going to dig deep into here. If you have a current business, it's awesome to be you that you're watching this video, because product launch formula is basically instant leverage for you. It's the way you get the most leverage the quickest out of your business. You just basically put together a new offer, or you relaunch your current offer, you create a new bundle, you create new pricing, you create new pricing terms, or you create a new product. If you create a new product, you probably want to do a seed launch so you can test it out and get paid to create the product. Otherwise, if you're relaunching a current offer, or if you create a new bundle, then you use an internal launch. And there's just really no better way to leverage up in your business. In fact, I'm willing to bet that if you put together a good launch, it's probably going to be the biggest week you've ever had in your business when you open the cart for your launch. So this is an absolute no-brainer. It's basically like having a license to print money. Love the way this fits into current businesses. Then if you have an unleveraged business, by this I mean you might be a coach, a practitioner, a service provider, a consultant, someone that works one-on-one with people, then this is how you start to leverage your time in your business. This works in all kinds of different niches. These are just some of the big meta niches like health and wellness and spirituality, relationships, money, real estate, business, sports and hobbies works really great with sports and hobbies. This is just a small sample. It goes much deeper than that. But if you're working with people one-on-one, then you already have clients who probably want to buy more stuff from you. They probably don't have enough of you. There's probably not enough of you to go around, and certainly there's not enough of your time to go around. And your timing isn't, or your income and your ability to help people make a bigger impact is basically limited by the number of hours, and we all have the same number of hours. So you need to get leverage to make that impact, to increase the positioning in your market. You really need to build your tribe. Social media is okay for that. Email is still king. I love using social media to drive people to my email list. And because email, nothing drives people and creates action like email does. But basically you need to build your tribe, and that means both the people that are buying from you that you've worked with and also your prospects. Very important that you build your tribe, and basically the way to do that is you create a product. The way you get leverage, the way you build your tribe is with your own products. Building your products is easier than you think. The seed launch is amazing for that. I went deep into that in video 2. If you haven't watched video 2, it's absolutely required viewing. It's required homework. And so I'm not going to go deep into that, but that's how you create the product. And once you start creating your products, it changes the math in your business. All of a sudden, you're not dependent on just working more hours to make more money or working more hours to help more people. And you can afford to buy leads. You're no longer trading dollars for hour. You can attract joint venture partners and affiliates, and it can really, just change the whole nature of your business. Now, and then if you are in this category, once you go beyond that seed launch, once you start to build your tribe and you build a product or two with your seed launches, it's time to roll out those products in a big way. And that's when you use the internal launch. And eventually you might even go to that joint venture launch, because the internal launch and the joint venture launch is where you really start to create leverage and bigger sales. And that's where you get the real positioning within your market, where you're really seen as the go-to expert, as the go-to leader, as the guru. Okay, next up, so that's if you have an unleveraged business. Now, next up, we have what I call the entrepreneurs. These are the people that want to start a business. Maybe you had this calling, you just really want to have a business, you really want to create control in your life. You want that lifestyle. You want to be able to work from home. You want to be in control. Really, that's what it came down to for me. And this was me for years. I wanted to have a business. I didn't know how to have a business. And then I learned about this type of business. And holy cow, if you're ready to step up and do what you really love, there's no better business than this business that we're in right here. And this really is about suspending disbelief. Like when I first learned about the idea of having an online business or being able to sell information, be able to sell my own products, it just absolutely didn't seem possible. But then I started to look around, I saw lots of other people were doing it. Either that or they were making up that they were doing it. But I saw people that had been online for years in business. They had their website, they're selling stuff for years. Something must be going on. I looked around, I saw in the publishing world, the people who are publishers have been making money for decades or longer. I looked and I knew the Wall Street Journal had been published since the 1890s. It's like, holy cow, they're still around 100 years later. They must be making money, right? So there must be money in publishing. And that's really what we're talking about, is when you step up and create an online business, you're publishing. So I'm like, wow, all these other people are doing it. It must be possible. I must be able to do it. And so I suspended my disbelief and I started those baby steps and put one foot in front of the other. Start with the seed launch to create your first product and get your first list. And this is, I firmly believe, you can sit there and want to do this and think about it, and it's not getting anywhere. You can wait until you have a big list. You can wait until you got partners that can promote for you. That's never going to happen. You have to get in the game, and you're not in the game until you have an offer and a list building process. And your seed launch gives you that. The seed launch gets you in the game. It's the quickest way to get in the game. You need to get in the game, or else you're just going to still be that entrepreneur. You're never going to be the entrepreneur. You're never going to move into actually having your own business and having control over your life, having a lifestyle and the income that you want. So the seed launch is sort of a gift from the heavens for you if you're ready to step up and have your own business. Next up, and I haven't talked about this before, but being an artist. Lots of PLF owners are artists. They're writers, they're painters, they're sculptors, jewelers, recording artists, and they have had some real success. I've worked with some very, very famous, incredibly famous authors to help put together promotions for them. Now, when you're doing a launch for a creative work, you're like, okay, how can I create value? How can I create pre-launch? Jeff, I see what you're doing. You're doing these pre-launch videos that are sort of teaching your methods, and if people want to go deeper, then they can buy your product launch formula from you. I see how you're doing it, but how am I going to do it? I've got a novel, or I've got a painting, or I've got a piece of jewelry. How can I do it? And the way it usually works is your pre-launch is about the creation of the work. You're giving people a glimpse into the creation and how you're creating it. And you are foreshadowing the work. In other words, you're giving people glimpses of the work. Maybe a novel, you're giving them the first chapter, or you're telling them, dropping some hints about some of the characters. Or so that's talk about the creation of the work, the foreshadowing of the work, and then if you feel comfortable with this, you might even want to give a little glimpse into your life as an artist. People love that. And you might be sitting there thinking, well, geez, all I do is I get up and I walk, go down to the basement, I sit in front of my computer and I write all day. It's like the most boring thing in the world to sit there and watch. I love it, but at the end of the day, it's just me sitting around in my pajamas typing on my keyboard. How exciting is that? But the reality is the people that are following you, they just have this romantic ideal of what your life is like as an artist. So they are really interested in you. So if you're willing to give a few glimpses behind the scenes of your working life and your creative process, they will eat that up, and you can create a very nice sequence if you use those 3 ideas I just gave you there. Okay, so now I want to just go through the types of launches. Some of these I've already covered, so I'm going to go super quick. But if you go check out the actual blueprint, PDF blueprint, you're going to be able to see all this work. I'm not going to go through all of them right now. I just want to touch on a few of them. One's what I call the shadow launch. It's fun. It's probably the easiest launch. This is where you are an affiliate for other people's products and you do a launch. This works with new products that are being launched, and it works especially well with products that have been on the market. But in this case, you do not even have to have your own product. You're basically launching someone else's product. This shadow launch, it boils down to creating a sequence and some type of special offer, which is usually based around some kind of bonus for that product, and you can actually do a launch. I've seen affiliates, people who are affiliates and would sell a product actually increase their results by 10 or 12 times when they put together a shadow launch. So this is how you use this if you don't even want to create your own products. Again, I highly recommend creating your own products because it changes the math behind your business, gives you a lot more power, but you can also use everything I've taught you to launch other people's products as an affiliate or as a joint venture partner. Another launch I haven't mentioned so far is the evergreen launch. And this is where you take your one-time launch and you turn it into a profitable automated system. It's basically a perpetual launch for new leads. People come into your world. They join your list. They learn about you. They subscribe to your email list. and then you run a launch sequence for them based on when they joined your list. And what you're doing here is you're leveraging if you put together an internal launch or even a JV launch, you're taking that work you did with the pre-launch content and you're creating your increased leverage because you're using that work over again. And this way, as new leads come into you, you do a launch as they come in. This is an awesome business model. And then there's the relaunch. I mentioned this earlier, so I'm not going to go back into it, but basically it's great because it's almost no work and it's a lot more money. Okay, one more is the e-commerce launch. Lots of questions about this. People absolutely use this for e-commerce, and it's great to do this regularly. I mean, lots of people are doing this on a monthly basis or even a weekly basis. One of the keys is not even the sales you make from the launch, but driving people back to your site and getting them in the habit of regularly coming back to your site so they buy more stuff. The best way to think about this is think in terms of bundles. That's usually the easiest way to do an e-commerce launch, is bundle together some of your products, create a bundle with a special offer, and then do a launch around that. Okay, now I want to talk about the fine print. These are the big gotchas. These are the things that hold people back. I have been teaching product launch formula. I've been teaching entrepreneurs how to do these launches since 2005. I've had over 10,000 clients go through my training. They've done hundreds of millions of dollars of launches. I've seen people have tremendous success, and I've seen other people struggle. And so I basically want to go through and cover some of the things that really stop people, that hold people back. And the first thing is this idea of I don't have a list. I don't have a list where it's like, Jeff, this looks fantastic, but I don't have a list, so I can't do this. And the thing is I didn't start with a list. No one does. Everyone starts with that first subscriber. I told you how I started with 19 email addresses on my list, and I built it from there gradually. Then a week or two later, I got my 20th subscriber, and then a week later, my 21st subscriber. Then eventually, I started building up a list building process, so I was getting 1 subscriber a day, and then 3 subscribers a day, and then 15 subscribers a day, and then 30 subscribers a day, and gradually built over time. That list that started with 19 eventually grew to over 80,000 subscribers. No one starts with a list. No one is born with a list. No one comes out of the womb with a list. You have to start. When I moved away from publishing about the stock market and I started my business where I was training people about how to market, I started over again. I didn't start with a list. No one starts with a list. The key is that you need to start building a list. No matter what business you're in, you need to start building a list. And the best way to build a list is with a launch. That is an absolute, I have added hundreds of thousands of subscribers to my lists in my various businesses, and I would say about 80% of them came through launches. It's the best way to build a list. And oh yeah, and just saying, if you actually register for my full-out product launch formula coaching program, I do include a complete list building course as a bonus with product launch formula. So you also, in addition to product launch formula, you get an entire list building course that teaches you how to build a list and how to build a relationship with that list. So the next one is I don't have a product. I already talked about this quite a bit in this video. And the thing is again, I didn't start with a product. No one starts with a product. No one does. You have to create them. And it's just not that hard, especially with that seed launch. It's the easiest way to create a product. If you can talk on the phone, you can create a product. And you really do want to create your own products because it's the only way you truly have control in your business. If you're selling someone else's product, promoting someone else's product, that product could go away. The product quality could go down the drain. They could stop paying you to promote. So you need to create your own product. You can launch almost any kind of product or service. Doesn't matter. I've had people launch offline services, online products, offline products, actual physical widgets, pieces of art, membership sites, DVD courses, online courses, trainings, seminars, workshops, mastermind groups. It really doesn't matter. You can launch just about any kind of product. And then again, just another one of those little PS here. If you register for Product Launch Formula, I also include a complete product creation course within Product Launch Formula as a bonus. So you get the Product Launch Formula coaching program, and then you also get training on how to build a list, and a complete course on how to build a list, and a complete course on product creation. So commercial over. Let's move along. A lot of people say I'm not a guru. Jeff, this works for you. That's awesome. That's fantastic. You're doing great. You're doing good big things. You're making a lot of money. But I'm not Jeff. I'm not a guru. The thing is no one's a guru when they start out. And the launch is the best number. It's the number one way to be seen as an expert or guru. If you look in my market, if you look at all the people that are teaching about how to build your business, pretty much every single one of them did a launch to become seen as that expert. And in most markets, and probably your market, if you look at the top gurus, so to speak, the top experts, the people with the most authority, they got that through doing a launch almost exclusively. They got that positioning through doing a launch. And the key thing is you do want to get that position of being seen as an expert or a guru or authority or as a leader, because that'll make your life easier. You can charge higher prices, you get more traffic, you get featured in other programs, you get asked for interviews, you get featured in books, featured in media, you can attract partners, you can attract deals. It's way better being seen as the authority in your market. Okay, next up this is a silly one. Sometimes people look at what I'm doing and they see, because I actually do what I teach, and they see me teaching marketing, they see all other people teaching business building and marketing, and think, well, that works great if you're in that market, if you're teaching people about business, but I'm teaching people about how to have a deeper meditation practice. Well, the thing is if you're in a different market besides teaching marketing or teaching business, it really is awesome to be you, because these techniques work better and they're easier to use when you're outside of the marketing niche, when you're outside of the business building niche, because frankly, there are so many launches, there's so much noise in the market that I'm in that's teaching people how to build their business. It's a lot easier if you're teaching people about, growing daffodils. It's a lot easier if you're teaching people about playing guitar, if you're teaching people about meditation. Much, much easier if you're in those markets. And frankly, it's been used in almost any kind of market. There, I've listed just a few of them: raw food, health food, meditation, mixed martial arts, dog training, tennis instruction, baseball coaching, soccer coaching, holistic health. A lot of people in that holistic health, holistic that meditation, that spirituality. Lots of people in that niche doing really, really well, because it's a relationship kind of sale. And frankly, when you do one of these launches, it's not a hard sale. It's a relationship type of sale. You get massive results, but it's not a hard pitch. It's not a slimy, type of sale. Real estate investing, stock market, quilting, dating advice, horse ballet, cake decorating. And it goes, I could literally list 100 or 200 or 300 different niches here. And frankly, it's one of my hobbies is sort of, collecting this list. But, I've only got so much time and so much room here. I love that horse ballet niche. It's awesome. Jane Savoy's just absolutely crushed it in that market. Next one is I don't live in the U.S. That's, it's not going to work in Mexico or whatever. The last time I opened up registration for Product Launch Formula, we had people join from 43 different countries. This works everywhere, because everywhere you live, people are going to be more influenced by people they know, like, and trust. And they're going to be influenced by those mental triggers that I already talked about a couple times in these videos. And, no matter where you live, scarcity is going to work. No matter where you live, social proof is going to work. Reciprocity, likability. And, this formula has been used everywhere: Asia, Africa, Middle East, Europe, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Central and South America, Canada, Mexico, obviously United States. It works really, really well. It's just been used everywhere. So, people are people. Certainly there's some cultural norms that change, but the adaptations you need are very, very small. Those mental triggers and that people like to buy from people they have a relationship with doesn't change. Okay, my product's not high priced. The thing, they look at me selling this training, my product launch formula training is not an inexpensive training because frankly, it changes people's lives. It changes their complete circumstances. So it's a higher price training. I mean, I compare it to like, what does it cost to go and get an MBA? An MBA, you can spend tens of thousands of dollars. But the thing is you do not need to have a higher price product. Bigger markets often have lower prices. So I'm in a fairly small little market, but if you're in a big market, like you're teaching, say, guitar, where there's so many more guitar players than there are entrepreneurs, the prices usually go down, but your audience increases. And so those kind of markets often have lower prices. And frankly, like earlier I mentioned John Gallagher, the guy that went from food stamps to having a great business. And one of his primary products is a $10 a month membership site. And that doesn't sound all that impressive until you start to put thousands of people in that membership site, literally thousands. So if you put 1,000 people in a $10 a month membership site, that's $10,000 per month. So you can see how it can add up. And doing a launch for a membership site or these lower price products, it's easy to generate lots and lots of sales. So you do not need a high price product, and your pricing will be dependent on your market. If you're teaching meditation, it's going to be different from if you're teaching real estate, than if you're teaching guitar, than if you're teaching gardening. It's just different markets have different pricing structures. Okay, it won't work for my market. I've given you enough examples. It works for just about any market. So the thing is yes, it will work. Ooh, I have a little typo there. Yes, it will. Yes, it will work for your market, unless it's some type of emergency service. So if you're, a bail bondsman, if you're a locksmith, if you're the roto-rooter person that's cleaning out drains and you respond to emergencies, probably not going to work so well. Otherwise, it's going to work. Hate it when those typos happen. This idea of it won't work for me. Now here, this is actually a legitimate one. This is a legitimate gotcha, because it's like that Henry Ford quote said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And the reality is, the thing that holds people back more than anything is that they don't believe. They don't believe in themselves. And I can't necessarily help you with that mental head trash that you're going on. If you think you're just born to be a failure, then I can't change it. Frankly, I try to. I really do. But, if you're convinced it won't work for you, then it won't. But the thing is this formula has worked for so many people. If you put it to work, then it is my firm belief, and I've seen a lot of evidence of this. I've got all kinds of proof. I've got all kinds of empirical proof of people just going for it and having it work for them, because you started the very basics with that seed launch and you work forward from there. So whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And I really hope that you just decide it's time to step up and you decide that you can, and then you're going to be right. And I'll never make $1 million. A lot of people say, "Oh, Jeff, you've got this huge business. Making this huge impact." I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to make $1 million. And the fact is, you're probably right. Most people don't and won't make $1 million doing this. And frankly, that's exactly what I thought. And it's the truth. It's the truth. I mean, thousands of clients. There's a significant number that have done $1 million launches, that have made millions, but the vast majority don't make millions. But you don't have to make millions to be super successful. When I started out, I didn't think there was a chance I could make $10,000. But life is full of surprises, and it's all about those baby steps. And once you start to build that first success, my experience is that entrepreneurs, once they get that first success, they just keep on building and building, and they leverage up. And it's not just that launch stacking, but it's almost like this personal success stacking, where just people keep on building on their successes. That's why I'm in this business, is to create that kind of result for you. I love my business. I love, the lifestyle I have. I love making a lot of money. It's just awesome. But I love that impact that I make on people, especially the folks that are starting out. I just absolutely love it, because I can remember when I was just starting out. And our final gotcha is that it's out of my comfort zone. Jeff, I just don't know. I'm really uncomfortable with this. And the thing is that I'm willing to bet that almost all the good things in your life came when you were out of your comfort zone, or came as a result of you stepping out of your comfort zone. All growth happens at the edges of our comfort zone. My job is to have a bigger vision for your future. And I do. This is something I take very seriously. I have seen too many people make these incredible transformations in their lives. The first person was me. I already told you in video 2, I sort of went through how I transitioned from that stay-at-home dad into having this multi-million-dollar business. So I saw that transformation, and sometimes I stepped outside myself and said, oh my gosh, this is just unbelievable. It's amazing. But then when I started teaching this, when I started teaching my formula, when I started teaching product launch formula, I saw it happening in other people's lives. I saw that transition, and it was unbelievable. And it happened so many times, it happened enough where I started to just see this vision for my clients. And you have a decision to make. Are you ready to step up and create a bigger life? That's really what it comes down to. I mean, people look and they say, Jeff, oh yeah, look at all the success you've had. Well, it came from those baby steps. It came from those baby steps and being willing to say, yeah, I've got a bigger purpose. I've got a bigger vision. I can create a bigger life. I can create a bigger lifestyle, bigger income. I can create more impact. I can help more people. And that's where it's all come from. So you have to decide if and when it's time to have that bigger life. And then you're going to have to step out of that comfort zone. That's the reality. You're going to have to, it's not like you have to jump out of it. You just need to start taking those baby steps. This is something I am really passionate about. I love to work with people in transition. I love to see people making that transformation. I love to see people creating a bigger life for themselves, creating a bigger income, a bigger lifestyle, and very often a bigger impact, helping more people. And that's what it's really about. That's at the end of it, that is my job. It's, yes, the vehicle I use is teaching people how to launch their products and how to launch their businesses. And I think that's a powerful vehicle because there's so much leverage involved. But at the end of the day, the thing I'm really about and my real job is to have that bigger vision and hold that bigger vision for you and hold you to going after that bigger vision. Okay, so moving on, I'm not going to go into this. There's a ton of resources in the blueprint. We cover all these different tools that we use. There's a lot of information here. I'm not going to go through this, but everything from what we use for squeeze pages and hosting and what we use to create our videos and what we use to create our audios and teleseminars and webinars. So be sure you download that blueprint and go through it. There is a ton of information in there. So that's the product launch blueprint. Now I know I covered a lot of ground. Again, you don't need to remember it all or know it all or even understand it all. I'll tell you what, even my very, very best students don't use, I'm talking the students that do million-dollar launches, they don't know everything, they don't use it all. I don't use it all. That's why I sort of went through that process to pick out your path, your product launch path. The thing is, you just have to follow the formula. I've given you now 3 full videos. If you go back through them, I've basically laid out the formula. Follow that formula. It's been proven by thousands of clients. It's been proven in hundreds of markets. It's been proven all over the world, countries all over the world. Just follow the formula. So right now, I'm in the middle of a product launch, you might have noticed, and I'll tell you what, it's been crazy. It's been an amazing experience. It's been at times almost overwhelming. Tens of thousands of video views, tens of thousands of people joining my list to watch those videos, hundreds and hundreds of comments, all kinds of emails coming in. One of the greatest things is a lot of times we start to hear back from all my older PLF clients. I get to hear back from them. They'll write to me, they'll email me with their stories, they'll leave comments. You probably noticed comments from some of them on the videos. And so it's just great hearing from all those past clients. And I got to tell you, I just absolutely love this business. I love what it's done for me and my family. I love what it's done for our lifestyle. It's afforded us a lifestyle that I never could have dreamed of a few short years ago. It's given me this crazy income. And I love it. I love that income. I love the lifestyle. But the thing that really gets me out of bed more in the morning is the impact that I'm making, that I'm helping so many entrepreneurs. And then they're going out in the world and they're doing good things and they're creating jobs and they're helping people and they're creating massive good in the world. So I just love that I can make this amazing impact while I make an amazing income and have an amazing lifestyle. It's pretty darn awesome. So if you're ready to join me, if you're ready to take this deeper, to go further on this journey, then I'm going to be opening up a new class of product launch formula very shortly, in just a matter of days. And so the way this works is very rarely I'll open up a new class. It's actually, as I filmed this, the last time we opened up a full class to the general public was a year ago. And so we'll be opening that up, and the way it works is we run it almost like a college class where we all go through it together. So I'll open up registration. Registration will be open for a few days, then we'll close it down, then we'll get the class started. So in the next video is going to be all about moving forward. So if you're interested in moving forward, if you want some more details on the program, I'm going to be laying it all out in that next video. But for now, I've given you a ton of work here, a ton of homework. You've got those first two videos and this third video and the blueprint. I've laid it all out for you, so go through that and start to create your blueprint for your launch. Now, last thing, I would love if you could scroll down, leave a comment for me. I would love, hit that Facebook button, but leave a comment for me and just tell me about your path. Tell me what category you're in and tell me about the launch that you're going to be doing. And just go ahead and leave that comment. I'd love to hear from you. I've been reading all the comments, every single comment I've read, and I've been responding to just dozens and dozens of them. So it's just been a lot of fun. So go ahead and leave a comment for me.
All right, here's the deal. I got PLF because I was in a position where I had no other choice. I had to do something about my life, about my business, or I wasn't going to go any further with it. And that was my my saving grace. That was my beacon of hope. Picked it up in like 2010. Went through the modules. I went to PLF Live. I went through all the courses. I took copious notes. Did everything that you could ever imagine doing in order to make my business a success. And my civilian job, my regular job, which is actually not civilian, it's military, took over, and I ended up having to go to Iraq and Afghanistan all in the same year on a deployment. Okay guys, I had to pull over for this part. Listen, PLF is awesome, but it's not a magic pill. You're not going to throw your money into this and let it sit under your pillow and make you a lot of money. But the fact of the matter is simple. I'm a regular guy, and I'm making money at this. I'm making consecutively larger launches, and it works. Simply put, it works, but you have to put some work into it. You have to learn it first and foremost, and then you have to get out there and do it. I mean, if I can do this, working 12 to 14 hours a day while deployed in Iraq and Afghanistan, I had poor internet at the best. I mean, I had my Apple laptop with me, and that was it. When I was lucky enough to get online and send some emails out, I did. So out of about 26 products or so, even 5 or 6 of them I was able to launch while deployed. But it worked, bottom line. But I was able to take care of myself, take care of my niche, take care of my market. It's just simply amazing what I've been able to accomplish with this. It works.
Hi, I'm Dana Wild with The Mind Aware, and I want to tell you my product launch formula story. I started my business almost 3 years ago with one $97 product, and during the first 8 or 9 months of my business, we probably sold a couple hundred copies of that product, mainly, through cashing in on favors and trying to copy what other people were doing on the internet and marketing, reverse engineering, as they call it. But at some point, I realized that I really needed some marketing training, and so I started searching. There were just like so many programs, and so many programs to choose from. And so I thought, how could I possibly know which one's the best one to get? Well, it occurred to me at some point that all of these other programs were using product launch formula to market their programs. mean, this was the program everybody was using to market, so of course I should start there, right? So I did. I invested in Product Launch Formula, and I studied it thoroughly and mainly just did what Jeff told me to do in the program. And our first product launch was in June of 2011. I mean, you just can't imagine. I practically fell off my chair when we realized what we had done. We use Product Launch Formula every time we launch that same product. And in fact, we use Product Launch Formula every time we market anything in our business, because we know that if we use these principles, we'll be successful. And so besides thanking Jeff Walker for creating this amazing system, I just want to say I'm a nearly 50-year-old woman. I never had an internet business before 3 years ago. And so if I can make this work, then Product Launch Formula can help you too. And I highly recommend investing in it.
Hi, my name is Barry Friedman, and I'd like to tell you how Jeff Walker's Product Launch Formula, hundreds of entertainers from around the world, and this pin, which held together the pieces of my shattered collarbone, are all connected. On February 18th of 2007, I took a spectacular flight off my mountain bike. The landing, less brilliant. It led to surgery and a 6-month recovery. The physical therapist was so excited when I was able to feel and remove a quarter from a bucket of kidney beans. Well, that accomplishment was a far cry from where I needed to be. As a 4-time world juggling champion and professional entertainer, I had spent the last 25 years touring the world, performing at high-profile corporate events, trade shows, sales meetings, and theaters. I had no idea if I'd ever be able to juggle again. During recovery, I started asking myself, what else am I good at doing? The answer I came up with? I'm really good at selling a juggling act for a lot of money. Shortly after that, I discovered Jeff Walker and the Product Launch Formula. What I learned from Jeff through PLF and the live event is that as someone who has knowledge that can change lives, it was my responsibility to create a platform where others could see themselves in my message. A completely different paradigm from the good old, hey, want to buy my program? The truth is, I've always done pretty well. I long ago blew away every projection that was thrown at me about how bad my life would be as a professional juggler. Jeff Walker and PLF have truly impacted hundreds of entertainers around the world who will never know his name. It's because of what Jeff taught me that those people were open to hearing about a bigger version of themselves. They joined my program and now play at a higher level. Yesterday, I closed registration on my 7th running of the Showbiz Blueprint, sold out again. If you have expertise and knowledge and are wondering how to turn it into a program that can touch lives around the world, I can't recommend PLF highly enough. Hey, if I can do it for jugglers, clowns, magicians, ventriloquists, imagine what you can do for your tribe. Good luck.
Hi, my name's Scott Ferguson, and I originally purchased the Product Launch Formula because my software business was struggling to survive. It was October of 2010, and the recession was in full swing and strangling the life out of my business. We had gone months without a single new customer, and I have 5 people on my team, including myself, with families all looking to me to figure out how to keep things going. How to pay the bills, how to feed the kids. And as you can imagine, money was incredibly tight. And I decided to invest in Product Launch Formula. And we were able to follow the formula, and that revenue saved us. It saved us from closing the doors, and it gave us a whole new way to market, and has helped us to get to 7 figures and counting with that business where we are today. So I'm walking you over to a new business that we've started. It's a second business completely based on Product Launch Formula. And now I'm about to show you some gear that we've got set up because we have started recording content every week for our new Product Launch Formula membership. And you don't have to have all this gear to do Product Launch Formula. All you need is a camera. You don't even need a camera, really. But I thought it'd be cool for everybody to see how far you could take it. And this is our new studio that we just put together. Hey guys, what's up? So This is our new studio that we just put together to produce product launch formula content for our new members. Would I recommend product launch formula? Yes, absolutely. Would I buy it all over again? Yes, in a heartbeat. There's no question about it. Jeff, you're doing a great job with the product, and I'm really excited to see what you've got in store for the next version of PLF.
Hey, my name's Marco, and I'm a magician. So I do magic shows, and I never saw a magician until I was in my mid-20s, and that always really bothered me. So I launched a contest on YouTube for children all over the world, and whoever won the contest, I would actually come to their city, anywhere in the world, and perform a free magic show. So I started getting like millions of views, and I get a winner, and it's an 8-year-old boy who lives on a small island in the Baltic Sea. So I arrive there and I perform a show for his friends, his family members. It's totally pandemonium because nobody actually thought I was going to show up. The media was there. It was just crazy. It shut down the whole town. It was a town of like 500. And there hadn't been a magician there in over 100 years. And during all of this, I'm getting flooded with emails from children all over the world asking me to teach them to do magic. And they ask me, do you have a product, do you have a book, or a deck of cards that you sell that I can learn this stuff from? And I didn't, and I didn't really feel like, you know, it's even possible to sell something online because I had actually tried it some years before, and I had a product that sat on my site for like 2 years. I didn't sell one, and I just thought, you know, okay, the only way you can sell stuff, you have to be a big corporation or something like Amazon. But I came across PLF, and something just told me to just do it. So I did it. I went through the course, and just like Jeff said, I qualified the avatar, and they told me exactly what they wanted, a trick deck of cards with 0 sleight of hand that could be totally examined, that fooled anybody who saw it. So I did that. I launched it on December 23rd, which was horrible timing because that's when you know, all the holiday shopping had been done. But that's just when I finished, and I just wanted to just test this out. And so I opened the card on the 23rd. I wake up on the 24th, and I check my email, and there's all these charges that had come through in the middle of the night of parents who had bought their kids, like, you know, these trick decks of cards, and it was just awesome. And you know, the 2 big changes for me were, you know, I actually now have a roadmap to do this over and over. And the other thing was, when I went to PLF Live, you know, I used to think I was alone, but when I got there, I realized there's a whole secret society of people that are going after their dreams and trying to monetize their talents and skills to help others. So that's my story. So thanks, Jeff.
Hey Jeff, tonight's my last night delivering pizza. That's right, about 2 months ago, I was laid off from a project very suddenly. This project, my family and I, my wife, my 2 small kids, ages 9 and 11, were devastated with a sudden collapse of income when this project fell through. And we didn't have a good plan B lined up. We honestly didn't have much in terms of savings. And so we had to go out and apply for food stamps. My wife took a $10 an hour, 30-hour a week job. I went out and started delivering pizza in the evenings while I tried to build a business during the day. We sold pretty much everything we could possibly sell just to make ends meet over the last couple of months. I got involved in product launch formula about 2 years ago, Jeff. You may remember me. In 2011, we met out at the Product Launch Formula Live event in Arizona. And at that event, you asked a profound question that's been sitting with me and stirring within me for the last couple of years. The question was why? What is my big reason why I get up in the morning? Why am I the way I am? What do I have to offer the world in terms of my gifts and my strengths? And the only thing I've been missing as I've been blogging and building my list over the last 2 years is a product. What could I possibly offer the world in terms of a product? And so I finally, in this moment of desperation, put together the outline and the materials for a coaching course that would enable and empower others to find their gifts and their strengths as artists and entrepreneurs and come alive in what they do and earn an income doing what they love. And so I did a seed launch just 2 weeks ago, Jeff, and I'm excited to say that I've had, out of the 700 that I launched this to, I had over 20 people sign up in a pay-what-you-can model for a mastermind coaching course. And it's provided us with enough income stability as a family to really get us to that next level. We're so excited because I have another launch planned for November and an even bigger one with JV partners in early 2014. So there's big things to come for us, Jeff, and I just want to thank you and say how much we appreciate you as a family and what you're doing in the world. You've meant the world to us in this time of need, and Product Launch Formula works. We're living proof as a family. My name is Jason Spencer, and I build tribes. You can reach me at tribe.ly.
Hi everybody, I'm Greg Bishop, and I want to talk a little bit about my experience using the Product Launch Formula from Jeff Walker and how it's impacted my life. Right off the bat, when I took the program, I devoured it. I was so hungry, I loved it, I went over it more than one time, and I went through all the videos, which, not just the first ones, I went through all of them, and I went through them all again. And I wanted to practice this. I wasn't very confident that I was good at choosing a niche or how to do video or how to do all this stuff, and I felt like if I just, instead of feeling like I put a lot of pressure on myself to do a certain business, I just choose a niche that wasn't as important to me, but I'd just practice and put it together. And so I chose business for photography and put together 3 videos that teach how to do business as a photographer, and then asked 3 bloggers to make a short post and just a comment, and they did, and sent traffic to me, and I got crazy high returns and ended up with 924 signups for the free videos in the first 48 hours. And then that just kept growing to like 1,700 after the first week. And I was just blown away at how fast and how successful it was. So this thing that started out as an experiment just to see how it worked, the formula worked so well that I ended up having a potential business on my hand. The other thing that I did, because I really wanted to practice and learn, is I actually went and found some other businesses in my community, people that were authors or coaches or trainers or things like that, and offered to be the one to apply the principles I'd learned from Jeff Walker's program in their business. And I didn't lie to them. I told them straight up that I was somewhat new at this. I'd run other businesses. I'd done other stuff in the past, but I'm just going to take Jeff Walker's program and apply it into their business. And that allowed me to get consulting money from them and practice and to build a team. So I ended up having a videographer and a video editor, and I got to try out a bunch of different software tools, and I got to just kind of practice until I felt comfortable with all the pieces of the business. And so it was financially this huge return where I'm getting paid to learn something I loved. I was totally loving this. And so I'm right now at the point where I feel like I've done that practice. And I realize lots of you guys just go out and hit it out of the park on day one, and kudos to you, but apparently I wanted to practice this in a little safer way. And so I'm super excited. I've got a niche that I'm ready to go after. I feel super clear on where I'm going and what I'm doing next. And to me, Jeff's program provides not only the roadmap and the guideposts and the instructions on how to get through the roadmap, but it provides a compass so that every day I can focus on the things that are the most important, and I know which direction I should be going on. And if I ever deviate or get off, I know how to get back on there. And so it's been super instrumental to me. I've certainly appreciated it, and it has been one of the most rewarding personal development experiences that I've had in my entire career. So thanks a lot, Jeff, and anybody else should go check it out.
Have you ever wondered how to do an effective email marketing campaign? I have. Hi, I'm Geraldine Barry, and as an entrepreneur and publisher, I've often wondered how I could leverage the internet to get more business. And as a businesswoman, I have attended seminars or workshops every year to try and build my business or to learn some new profitable tips that I can implement. And this year, in May, I was fortunate enough to see Jeff Walker share his product launch formula on stage. As an immigrant who came to the US from Ireland 25 years ago, I've had the opportunity to go to college here, build businesses here, and now living in the Silicon Valley, where disruption of businesses and innovation is really important, I feel like I haven't explored the possibilities that the internet offers. And so when I saw Jeff speak, he resonated with me. He wasn't some slick, fast-talking salesperson. He really shared the basics for doing an email campaign or internet marketing campaign that I could embrace. So how did Jeff's work impact me? First of all, it motivated me and inspired me to put a product together myself. I thought, well, let me test this thing. And so I developed a 7-week coaching program and limited the numbers that were able to participate, and in virtually no time it sold out. So there's nothing like the imminent deadline to make you perform, and it was 7 weeks, so every week I would write the section for next time. And at the end of 7 weeks, I got such great feedback from it. I did it again. I thought, well, maybe that was a fluke, and it sold out again. So what I discovered that people really want to hear from me and possibly you on your area of expertise and how they can be effective. In my case, it's real estate investing and how to create long-term financial stability. What it requires a little time and effort and a little hand-holding. I can provide that. And Jeff has given me the courage to put together a program, and I'm amazed at how much progress I've made and how positive the feedback is in terms of results. There's nothing better than that when people have results from the information that you share. So I am so excited. I'm going to do a major product launch coming up. That secret weapon that I utilized to take it to the next level, Jeff Walker, is available at your fingertips also. That's how I roll. I want results, and that's what I got.